I see it going. I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report. I'm live on Periscope, Mixer, D-Live, YouTube, Facebook, and of course, Twitch should be connecting shortly. I am going to be getting to your calls. 888-775-3773, and I have a lot of stuff to get to as well. Some interesting, fun stuff. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will. People complaining about the mods still. Mods are mods for a reason, right? Basically. I basically trust them too. But anyways, this is Friday, July 17th, 2020, 9:01 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And I'm 39 today. Isn't that cool? Here's something else cool. Listen to this. We're getting on with the show.
In charge of creative.
Can you ride in a go-kart?
That's the funniest part.
I
No,
don't
I
think you can.
probably couldn't
You're
run
too big.
He said that at the time.
But no, we were 4 hours into the first date and we hadn't had a theme yet. I was getting frustrated. I'm like, let's throw stuff out. And I'm like, how about go-karts just off the top of my head? And then later on,
Yeah,
Christine
but things
said...
shouldn't be just said off the top of your head.
No, and
you gotta do a little
later on,
thinking.
Christine said that doesn't convey luxury, and I said to Jen, I said, yeah, that probably does not convey luxury. I would like to do it, but I'm not the Lexus customer. I'm white trash. I only eat at restaurants with deep-fried appetizers. So I know I'm not the Lexus.
What do you mean you're white trash?
I'm just joking
No,
about
but what does that mean? You don't joke about that. What does that mean you're white trash?
I grew up in a small town, and
Does that
I'm
make
not
you white trash? Do you feel
No.
you're white trash?
Sometimes
That's
I
a
do.
pretty stinking statement.
I was a little.
No, but don't you think that's a pretty bad statement about yourself?
No, not necessarily. I don't think people take that seriously.
It doesn't sound flattering.
Do you go around calling yourself white trash?
As a
Do you think
joke
I want to
sometimes.
hire somebody that's white trash?
No. And I say it as a joke sometimes. And
I don't like it as a joke. You know what, Derek? You're fired.
Dang.
I think that is so stupid for you to say, you're fired.
Okay.
Go.
All right.
Terrible. You shouldn't use that expression anymore either. How stupid can you be?
My strategy in this process is always to keep my mouth shut in the boardroom, and I totally screwed up this time. I knew I was going down, and I decided, hey, I'm going down my way, and I'm going to be a complete smartass. And unfortunately, Mr. Trump didn't appreciate that and gave me the smackdown. So right now in the boardroom, someone else is probably getting the smackdown, and you know what? Good luck to the ladies.
I don't want to hire white trash. You know what? White trash, it's a terrible expression.
Yeah.
It's not a nice expression.
If you don't want to hire him and you think you can't see him working for you
I
after
don't
what
want to
he
hire
said-
somebody that thinks he's white
Sure.
trash, even in a joking way, and I'm not sure he was joking.
Okay, that's fair enough.
By the way, I still have to fire somebody, specifically the person that's responsible for the loss. For cism.
I know, well, that was the end of it. I just left that part in because it was funny. Anyways, let's get on with the show. It was a beautiful little statement from Trump throwback. That's my first time seeing a significant clip from that show, The Apprentice, on NBC. Formula.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, aren't you happy we have that man as the President of the United States in these times of mass... Can I say the word? I always am so miserable about saying this word. He was tougher then, says Joel. You know, that is so beautiful in these days of mass cucking, which is betraying what's right. Not just what's white, but what's right in favor of weakness, cowering and bowing down to evil people who don't have good intentions for anybody, including their own race. I'm talking about the blacks, the whoever else, you know, many other people, right? All these people who pretend to have so-called their people's best interests at heart. Do not. They're pushing evil into the country and into their own communities that they pretend to love. The blacks, that such as the NAACP, the ADL, and other sleazy organization and other sleazy mindsets in the people. For example, Nick Cannon. This whole thing with Nick Cannon, where he went in and said whites are basically like they're closer to being animals, and we're the real Semites. So we're not anti-Semitic because we're Semites. It's not hate, it's all love. And the fake Jews are not. He's saying that the white Jews are fake Jews, and so the whites really don't care, and I can't really believe that the Jews really care either. But a power play, many of them are driven by emotions and pride and evil and controlling the people who they platform, right? You have to be controlled. You have to be palatable if you're going to be on this big platform. And it is not advertiser friendly to be a black Hebrew Israelite as as Nick Cannon seems to be, thinking that he's the real Israelites. And therefore, money over what's right, because a lot of people are going to be like, pretend like they're offended, right? But I don't believe anybody's offended by Nick Cannon's statements, really. They laugh about it. They think it's shockingly funny. A whole lot of blacks think this way, and clamping down on Nick Cannon is not going to breed goodwill towards the people clamping down on him, nor is it going to breed unity or love or whatever. We need freedom. Love means allowing people to discriminate and hate and believe whatever nutty conspiracy theory or whatever that they believe. That's freedom of speech, freedom to discriminate. Why would you want to impose yourself on somebody who wants to discriminate you? Joel says he's looking like a broken down Aladdin. Malcolm X glasses. Nick Cannon, I'm referring, you guys know about him. So, by the way, Nick Cannon is 39 and so am I. Thank you guys, all of you guys, for the birthday wishes. Those of you who did. The birthday curses, thank you for those. If any of you did. Whatever. I am Nick Cannon's age, so I get a pass. Well, to be honest, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to others, but I guess my maturity level is about on par with the rest of the millennials, right? Exceptions to the rule. There are some very solid, manly or womanly people who are waking up, doing what's right, or even just were raised right and never really strayed too much from that. That's cool. I appreciate that. That is cool. Fan of the Ladies reminds us that Nick Cannon married Mariah Carey. And he says, Hake, go get Charlize, save her kids, which are not even her kids. She adopted black African children. She's South African, but white. Charlize Theron, who's raising an 8-year-old to be an 8-year-old boy to be a girl. He was 7 when she started doing this. Actually, maybe younger than that. I think he was 3 when he started acting like, or saying that he was not a boy or whatever. Disgraceful. And Mariah is a reference to Mariah Carey, a woman who's 50 or 51. Nick Cannon is 39, so she's 10, 11 years older than him. And he married her. I think he had three children with her. I think he has 3 children, and I think that's with her. And they co-parent. They got divorced. They were married for like 6 years. But I didn't know that she was part black. I knew she was in with that culture somewhat, but anyways, and thank you for all the text messages everybody texted me too. Those of you who have my cell phone number. And the emails as well, and the super chats and all that. I am going to read your super chats. I am going to get to your calls, 888-775-3773. Some of you guys have been on hold since before I even started. But this is a somber day as well. It is not just July 17th, Friday. I was born on a Friday, too. That's cool. But, you know, the Confederate flag is a much maligned, much misunderstood, much smeared flag. They try to make it a byword, kind of like what they did with what they've been doing with many things. For example, perfectly innocent cases of whites dressing up as black is always ham-fistedly smeared as blackface by the liberals who pretend that they have nuance, right? They pretend to be, you know, you can't have fun and pretend to be black or joke around about blacks or anything. And I became aware of like this race stuff, and I knew that it was a little ugly sometimes because like the bad kids are mean towards other races and they're also mean towards their own. And the good kids joke around about it, and it's funny and it's fun. And you just point out the differences between the different races. If you grow up in a so-called diverse culture, I couldn't help it. I was born into this. I grew up amongst Hispanics and Asians mostly. And there were a few blacks, and they were the best athletes. Or they were fat. This is a somber day, though. On behalf of America, I apologize to the whites of the South, the beautiful South, and the sensible black Americans, too, of the South. This is an attack, really, on America. On behalf of America, I apologize to America. And Northerners and Westerners like me, or whatever you call me, Southern California guy. Because they're smearing the most decent people in America in some cases, or on the whole, you would say. They're Christians. The South, everyone who loves free speech, I apologize to you on behalf of America. And Southern heritage, everybody who loves Southern heritage, and everybody should. Because today, the increasingly rhino liberal outlet Fox News reports that the Pentagon, which is full of liberals, honestly, did you know that? The Defense Department is full of liberals. If you look at according to The Hill, it came out in 2016, I think, or 2017, the donations from all these government agencies, 90%, 80%, 90-something percent, high 90 percentage of all these organizations, including the Defense Department, the Department of Defense, DOD, supported Hillary. Donations went to Hillary. So, of course, the Pentagon is to ban the display of the Confederate flag on military installations. They want to change the names of Fort Bragg and Fort Hood, which are forts that were named after Confederate generals or something. Trump likes winning. He doesn't like simping and feeling loserville and all that stuff. And so I'm glad that he's not for these changes. And I'm glad that he mentioned that banning the Confederate flag, as NASCAR did. NASCAR betrayed Americans and whites and honestly blacks too by kissing up to their false sense of victimhood and false sense of outrage over the Confederate flag. They don't need to be upset about slavery. They should be thankful for it, that they're here. Those who were descendants of slaves. Because they get to be here. It's cool. But I'm glad that Trump didn't, he's pointed out that they banned the Confederate flag. They kissed up to this false victim radical, mixed race black guy, Bubba Wallace from NASCAR. And they gave him this big somber tribute, like it was a funeral when he claimed to have discovered, or somebody discovered, a noose in his garage that was there since well before they knew he was going to be coming into that garage. And so Trump, I'm glad, is not playing the game. He's not kissing up too much to Black Lives Matter, if at all. He says that the George Floyd death was terrible. But he's like a fair-minded boomer person, and I like that about him. Right on. By the way, Don Jr., speaking of the Trumps, and a great Trump himself, Don Jr. got his Twitter account back. I may touch on whatever's going on with Twitter. I'm not exactly sure. Remember, they got hacked. I reported yesterday. The day before that, they got major hacked. Barack Obama tweeting out scammy messages about Bitcoin, and Joe Biden and Elon Musk, Apple, Wendy's, Uber, Cash App, all these, Warren Buffett, all these, in some cases they're the worst people in the world, but they're the most famous people on Twitter. Third kid of Nick Cannon is from another woman, Brittany Bell. Oh, is that why they divorced? I wonder. Or is it just after they broke up? I think after, yeah. Nick wouldn't cheat on Mariah Carey. Who would cheat on Mariah Carey? She's kind of a miserable person too, man. What a shame. But, be honest, Nick Cannon, who's really offended by him? Nobody. He's wrong, I guess. I think. I half jokingly suggest he should be institutionalized because it's nutty to believe that. But then you can't. So many blacks agree with him. You can't institutionalize all the nutty blacks who think just like him. Institutions don't work anyways, by the way. They call it mentally ill. It's really spirit. It starts with the spirit and then it infects the mind, right? Love and truth helps people, right? And I mean tough love. I don't mean this phony, squishy, kiss-up, emotional, fake love. But that's not what the real love and the real truth is. Not what anybody's showing him. Not the victim-minded Jewish people who want him to be victims with them. Blacks and Jews need to come together against white supremacy. It's so evil. It's such a destructive mindset, that victim mindset. So nobody's showing him any love that he's close with anyways, that we can hear in the public eye. He's joining forces with his enemies, his fellow victims, whom he thinks are his friends and his masters. So, right on. And we are a generation of like immature men. But if you look at the boomers, they're not much better. In some cases, they're worse. In some cases, we're worse. By the way, if I may brag, I was told by my mother, and that can be dangerous, because Elizabeth Warren's mother told her that she's part Indian, American Indian. And I think I was told that I was part American. I had my grandfather on my dad's side, I think, had Indian blood, but maybe it was a dream. And I have a funny story about that. I think I told it once or twice on this show. I think I'll spare you guys today. But I looked like a bulldog when I was born. My face is all squished, and I was like a tough-looking little fat kid. Nice. 8 pounds. This dainty little black girl was also born around the same time in the same hospital as me, and apparently the mother and my mother were roomed together. So the father of that black girl, apparently, black father involved, nice, was all jealous, according to what my mother said, right? And he wanted to trade so he could have like a tough-looking bulldog son instead of a dainty little daughter. I think that's a joke. But, growing up white in Southern California, that's my future wife, says Joelle. Growing up white in Southern California and LA, I'm from LA, right? Suburbs. I became aware of race in really more junior high. I remember the LA riots, but I don't remember thinking much about them after the Rodney King beating, which was, I think, deserved. And I think that they couldn't chokehold him. I could be wrong. Were chokeholds banned at that point? And so they had to beat him on his limbs to subdue him? And that looks even worse than a chokehold? I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But the Rodney King story is not what the mainstream tells you. But anyways, I grew up not much around blacks, like I said, mostly around Hispanics. I just thought they all had a better tan than me. Kind of like my cousins had better tans than my immediate family. And not that they're Hispanic, but they just have better tans. They go to the beach a lot, or they're the type of white that tan better or something, I think. But junior high, I was homeschooled in 3rd and 6th grade, and you know, when I would come back after 3rd grade into 4th grade, I was like still like the hero, the friend, everybody liked me. And then coming back from 6th grade, all these bad kids come in for what's called junior high. And the bad kids hated whites because they were mostly Hispanic and some Asians. I remember one Hispanic guy who was like white, light-skinned Hispanic, but he called one of my best friend since kindergarten, he called him Chino. But he's Japanese, but he called him Chino, which is Mexican for Chinese. So I was like, that's ignorant. I didn't say ignorant, but I remember rolling my eyes at that guy. But the hierarchy, the social hierarchy in junior high was Hispanics at the top. They were the majority, and they were like the coolest. And then the Asians, and then the whites at the bottom, they were the minority. And we were mostly quiet, decent kids. Some of us were nerdy or whatever. One nice Hispanic friend of mine in high school, he got mad. Speaking of this whole thing about being white is being decent and responsible, on time and all that stuff, that's white culture. Responsibility, and you get what you deserve, and you should be honest. I don't know if being honest was in that white culture thing that Nick covered with Jesse Lee Peterson on the Jesse Lee Peterson show today, but that was considered white. It was considered white to put on your seatbelt when you're riding in the car. Like, I remember getting in the van with my friends. I put on my seatbelt. You are so white, they would say. But I remember one Hispanic friend of mine, good friend of mine, nice guy generally, rarely got mad, but I remember one time he got really mad because some of my friends were prankster types. They would, toilet paper homes and things like that. One time they dug up the field. They dug up the football field and put XC for cross country because we were runners and we were more successful than the football players, and we would lord it over them. But he was a good kid, but he was also kind of a bad kid. And he got mad at one of my white Boy Scout, Mormon, which is like that Christian cult thing, teammate, cross-country teammate. Because he and another Mexican kid, nice kid, they stole a movie poster off of the window of a Blockbuster video store, right? Where you go to rent movies back in the day before they got shut down by Netflix, right? And the white kid, the white high schooler, was like, you should put that back. And he got mad about it. And the one kid who actually did the stealing, he didn't care. He's like, okay, whatever. He stayed quiet. But the nice friend, he got so mad at the Boy Scout, and he's like, fine, do it then. And so the white kid went in and gave it back to the store clerk and said, I apologize, my friend stole this. And then he came back, and it was funny because it like ruined the feel-good moment. Not necessarily the white kid being a good kid, but the fact that he got mad at the white kid for being a good kid and wanting his friends to not be little thieves. So interesting, right? It's kind of like what we see today with the whites being a little bit more conservative and wanting laws enforced, and we don't buy into this no human being is illegal, as some of the women do. Stuff with the illegal aliens. We want the laws enforced, and we don't want the statues being taken down by thugs or the Democrats, by the way, or the rhinos. Nikki Haley taking down the Confederate flags from, what was it, North Carolina or South Carolina? Disgusting. And the POCs who are suckered by the liberals more frequently than the whites, they get mad they think it's racist to want the law and decency and honesty enforced. Psh, we need to bring back that. Anyways, let me read a few super chats. I want to talk about, hopefully, the Twitter hack, this hype about the COVID thing. I read it a little bit to you guys in Hake News. And there is both hype and real, a little bit of danger. Maybe a lot of danger for some people who are more susceptible and vulnerable. And you got to be aware of both dangers. There's both the physical evil of the disease and the spiritual and just outright evil of the Democrats and the fake people who are for oppressing, exploiting this crisis to oppress the people and push, like Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York. And the lying people. We believe in science. So phony. And I will get to your calls. Hang tight, guys. Noah's Arkansas gave a diamond. Thank you, man. Dark Side of the Bear gave a ninja guinea. Happy birthday, Hake. With a bunch of characters that make up a bear-looking thing. Thank you. Based AF, America First, gave a ninjet, which is very generous. Thank you. And he says, Happy International James Anton Hake Day. Everybody's birthday changes the world. You best. Thank you, man. That's cool. I'm just looking to see if that was... He put up an emoji that could almost, if you squint, it looks like a middle finger, but it's not. Brandon M. gave a diamond and said, Fat host and a happy birthday to you. Cool. Nice. You can get your cool t-shirts on my Teespring store. That's right. That's cool. By the way, shout out to... Oh, I got to give this to Joelle. Black Victoria, I think she's the one who gave this to me. The credit person. The credit solutionist. She bought a mug, a Hake Report mug. That's nice. Thank you. I saw the... I'm so bad at social media and messages, emails, and all that stuff. But I happened to see it, and I recognized it, and thank you for that. I'll find the picture and share it with you guys later. Okay? What a mess. Anyways, Noah's Arkansas said, Trust me, I am trustworthy. You can trust me. With a diamond. Well, thank you, Noah's Arkansas. Master Daryl Wayne. Sometimes with the W, I put a H in it when it doesn't belong. Master Daryl Wayne gave a diamond and said, Happy birthday, James. Thank you. Noah's Arkansas with a ninja guinea says, Happy birthday, Hake. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. La la la. And those are two songs, which I refuse to sing because whatever. Fan of the Ladies says, Happy birthday, dude. Top 3 for Christian bands. Go. Petra. Whiteheart. 90-pound wuss. Those are off the top of my head. I would have to think more about it, but 90-pound wuss was a great Christian punk band. I loved it. I liked Goaty Hook. That was another Christian kind of pop punk band. I liked Petra. I liked Whiteheart. Anyways, that's an initial top 3. I appreciate that. Fan of the Ladies. I also liked Extol. One album, their first album. They're like a metal band from like Norway or somewhere. Army Ann gave a diamond and said, happiest of birthdays, Hake. Amazing. Thank you, Army Ann. Appreciate that. And thank you to Asmodor for hosting the show. And Asmodor gave a ninja guinea and said, Happy birthday, James. Much love from TKR fam. And TKR is short for the Crypto Report. Catch Asmodor and the TKR fam on his channel, dlive.tv/Asmodor. Thank you, man. Evgeny Crosby, 2020, gave a diamond and said, Happy birthday, Hake. 39. You finally hit puberty. Thank you. Hot Computer Smell says, Happy birthday with a cake. Asmodor gives a diamond and says, On behalf of the South, I accept your apology. Yeah, it's such a disgrace. The attack on the South. It's such a red herring. The blacks' problem is the blacks and the people that they so foolishly listen to, right? Anyways. And it's not even the blacks that's the problem. It's Satan. And, it's everything that Jesse Lee Peterson says. He had a great monologue at the beginning of his show today, too, by the way. I'm glad that the Women's Forum was a success, too. Congratulations, ladies, last night. Fabriettes gave a diamond and said, Happy B-Day, Hake. Noah's Arkansas says, Petra is classic. Check out Resurrection Band. And it's spelled with a Z, according to Noah's Arkansas. Thank you. And thank you for the subscriptions as well, guys. Appreciate that. That's cool. Oh, I got to open up my Streamlabs. In the meantime, let me get to my second favorite caller. Earl from Michigan is on the line. And be patient, guys. I know some of you guys, and from when I was a listener, just a listener on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, there were people, callers, you know, supportive people of Jesse Lee Peterson and Bond who had no patience for Maze and wouldn't have had no patience for Earl, but I don't think Earl was a caller at that point. Have patience with them. And maybe I am taking too long with them or whatever, yeah. I do appreciate the feedback, but do be patient, right? Anyways, let me get to Earl from Michigan. Hey, Earl.
Hola, Senor James Hake.
Are you going to wish me a feliz cumpleaños?
Yeah, congratulations making it to another year.
Thank you.
But you're still evil incarnate. But, but I think you still have the right to speak your mind and have your own opinion.
Right on.
So
appreciate
you don't have
that.
to agree with me, even though I think you're one of the devil's imps. But
one of the devil's. Did you say pimps?
Imps.
Imps. Okay, IMPS.
With the P.
That's a cool word.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But,
Thank you, man.
First of all, I'd like to tell Joe from Arizona and Marcus that they should look at a guy named Gary Chambers, a guy that was at a meeting to rename the school, Robert E. Lee School, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I think, and you should watch it too, because it'll be educational. Because Lord knows Joe tried to teach you it through your head, but you wouldn't listen. But
isn't it a shame though that they're smearing Robert E. Lee? What about all the good things about him?
Can you name one?
He was an honorable man, from what I hear.
From what you hear?
Yeah.
Look at the video and get educated.
I know, but videos tend to be propaganda nowadays, especially from.
Yeah, well.
You know.
People look at and believe what they want to, then make up stuff that.
Exactly.
That suits their point of view.
That's my point.
They don't deal with the facts, even though there's historical documents that back it up. They'll still ignore all that just to maintain a favorable image of somebody that they want to hero worship.
I don't want to hero worship him, though. So,
you don't want to accept the facts either.
I know, but listen.
You ignore it.
No, I don't ignore it, but I don't overdraw it.
You dismiss it.
No. Yeah, I dismiss it because slavery is not that evil compared to the stuff we do today.
Don't tell me what slavery is unless you were one that know exactly what suffered. You talking about somebody who what it wasn't, as if you were an authority on how menial or how unintrusive it is. It was, but
I didn't say it was unintrusive. I said it wasn't that evil compared to what we have today, and it's a fact. I think the people. Well, yeah, no, but it's also a fact. The people.
It's not a fact.
Yeah, it is. The stuff that we do today, those slave owners and slave traders and masters, they would be horrified at us. They would be like, "What? You guys are a disgrace, disgusting." They would have us in jail, tarred and feathered, deported us. And honestly, rightly so.
I think if you had no rights, you had no way to protect your loved ones. You couldn't stop them from selling you, raping your women, doing anything else. You had no law you could run to. You worked at their pleasure, and what they say goes, period. And any objection, they had the right to kill you if they wanted to. There was no penalty for killing a slave.
I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true.
White men didn't hang or do anything else for killing a slave.
I don't know if that's true, man.
Kill a white man. It was the opposite. But I want to go to something else. I want sort of talk about the Bible guy.
Yeah, because you're pretty dumb about slavery. You're a useful idiot when it comes to slavery.
No,
so you should really be quiet about it. You should really get over it, Earl. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you need to educate yourself.
No, I don't need to do anything but stay white and live.
You're still so stupid and young that think you know something.
But you think you know something.
Criticize somebody else, and the facts are you just as racist and ideologically. I think you one step above Dylan Roof. Only thing you're not as violent as him, but the same ideology you hold to, just like he does.
Well, you're just like him too, Earl. You talked about supposedly the slaves were raped, and I don't know if that's true. But Dylan Roof
complained. I don't care what you know, stupid fool.
Dylan,
you know nothing.
I do know that.
You haven't researched nothing.
I do know that.
So what does it matter what you think?
Dylan Roof.
You just say what you think makes you feel good. I don't give a hoot or care what you say. Because you have nothing to back you up. You can research it, and you still wouldn't believe it.
Earl, the point is, you're being a drama queen, and you're being a useful idiot.
No, I'm
Dylan
being a
Roof
fact
pointed
killer.
out. Hold on, Dylan Roof.
I'm being a fact.
Earl, I let you talk. Dylan Roof pointed out that blacks are raping white women more frequently than the other way around, and that's a fact, Jack. And your people have no idea about that. You're so ignorant, it's pathetic. And then you dismiss black on black crime as though it's not way worse than white on white crime, which it shouldn't even be your standard. Your standard should be what's right. But you guys aren't about what's right. And so you just kiss up moralizing about slavery as though you're such moral people. You're not. You're a Democrat. That's the worst thing to be, is it politically, as in terms of morals?
Dylan Roof. If you read 100 pages of what blacks did, it didn't give him the right or reason to go into a church, sit there, and plot and murder 9 people, and you making excuses for it because
I didn't make any excuses for it.
Statistics that blacks maybe kill more than whites.
Not maybe.
What the hell does that mean?
Not maybe.
Nothing.
Not maybe, Earl. They do.
So that means nothing.
Neither does anything that you say. Neither does anything that you say. Because everything. Hold on, Earl. I'm putting you on hold if you don't be quiet. Earl, all of the stuff that whites supposedly did to blacks back in the day does not justify your hatred and the mass hatred in America towards.
Hatred.
Hold on.
Facts.
Hold on, towards whites today. And you guys hate whites and you hate America today.
You hate being told about what they did.
No, I don't care about it. I don't care. I shrug it off.
That's why you
it's irrelevant.
characterize it as hate. Because even though it's factual, you want to ignore it.
Facts are not truth, Earl. Yes,
it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It backs up the truth.
It backs up the truth. And the truth is, you are repaying whites for what they supposedly did.
Excuses for a cold-blooded thug that killed, that murdered, that was into white power, the natural, the right-wing way of life, and now you want to make it was
not right-wing. Dylan Roof was not right-wing, man. But anyways, Dylan Roof.
Why I was waving
hold on,
flag all of a sudden.
Earl. Dylan Roof became just like the angry, violent blacks who kill and hate white people. He just became like that. And he wanted to start a race war, so he did what he did. Blacks are doing it way more than whites, Earl, and you're turning a blind eye to it.
You make an excuse for him because you
I didn't make any excuse. I didn't make any excuse. I just hold on, Earl. I compared him to you, and that's a valid comparison.
I know. That's how foolish you are.
No, you compared me to him. Why can't I compare him to you?
Because you the one who defends him.
I don't defend him.
You
I pointed.
Excuses.
I defend the facts that he cited because you're so into facts. And he cited.
Paper,
hold on, Earl.
Blacks kill more than whites. I'm gonna go out and kill for it, son.
Yeah, Earl. He cited present day facts, and you cite past facts that have nothing to do with you. It's so pathetic.
That has nothing to do with whether people know that fact. They don't go out and kill folks because blacks are killing more than whites. So every white person goes out and kills, start killing blacks left and right.
Whites aren't doing that, Earl. Blacks are the ones doing that, Earl.
Why did I get an excuse for Dylan Roof to do it?
I didn't give him an excuse. You're the one who would give them an excuse because you're justifying one evil with another.
As if that's a reason.
It's not a reason. I just cited the fact that he was into facts just like you.
They're still dead.
Earl.
And he premeditated and killed him.
Hey, Earl. Dylan Roof.
Premeditation.
Dylan Roof was into facts just like you and full of hate and blind and a liar.
He went past that. He took it 5 steps further.
We all know that, Earl. We all know that. Why don't you get over that? Why don't you get over that, Earl?
Just making the facts. Make sure you bring out the facts and stop making these flimsy excuses for.
I didn't make any excuses. You're the one making excuses and lying about black violent crime and hatred towards whites.
No, and Mays was right about you.
Mays is never right.
You don't hardly mention. You mention all the time what blacks kill and the quantity, as if that makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
If blacks kill 10 folks and whites kill 3, you think the 3 people are even less dead?
Right, Earl, that's why I said
you want to focus on the quantity.
No, Earl, you're the one comparing. Hold on, you're the one comparing blacks to whites all the time. You're such a hypocrite.
Quantity.
You're such a hypocrite.
Quantity, as if that's a reason why both sides, one side should be ignored and the other side should. You should talk about the one that killed the most, but don't talk about leave the other ones alone. That wasn't enough people.
Yeah.
So white
exactly, Earl. All right. You done?
No, I wanted to speak on what the Bible guy said.
Hurry up. I'll give you 15 seconds to get it out.
Okay. He criticized me on talking about the Confederate. I mean the 4th of July, 1776, and the Constitution.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, that wasn't my argument. My argument was the application. Yeah, they were fine-sounding words and nice-sounding words, but the application and implementation of it to everybody was what I was talking about. So he needs to get his facts straight. Nobody complained that there wasn't noble words and so forth. He just wanted to make sure it was more than just on paper, that it applied to everybody. That's my point. And tell him to get that right.
All right, Earl. Appreciate that. Take care, man.
All right. Adios, amigos.
Take care. Oh, man. Hot Computer Smell gave a super chat and said, can you please give Earl an hour to finish a sentence? Sheesh. Hydro PX says, happy birthday, Hake. Keep up the good work. Stand up for what's right and true. Thank you, man. And I think I didn't read King Alpha Nerd's super chat. It said, happy birthday, James. Only a white man will celebrate their birthday by working. By the way, Joel and Jesse begged the question, if you would dance with a girl with her, dance with a girl with her back towards you, and how close would you be? 5 inches or a mile? I don't know. I can't imagine wanting to dance with a girl with her back to me. That's weird. That's like degenerate, right? I would be embarrassed. Anyways, Jimmy DM says, happy White History Month and happy birthday, James. Asmodor says, Earl's so stupid and old that he thinks he was a slave. Yeah. It's so pathetic to be hung up on that. And by and large, like the white slave owners, they were pretty kind to the blacks compared to, like, for example, I don't know, the Muslim slave owners who would castrate them and things like that, right? By and large, the white slave owners were Christians, and that would contain them, and it would contain the slaves. The Bible says, slave owners, be just towards your slaves because you too are a slave of Christ. And the slaves, obey your masters because you have a master in heaven. So, anyways. Let me get to Samuel in Sweden. He's been on hold forever because I took forever with Earl again. But I don't know. I just like talking with him. Samuel out of Sweden, what's up?
Hey there. Happy birthday, Hake.
Thank you. Nice to hear from you, Samuel. And I appreciate the videos that you've been putting out little white history things. And you even watched the Red Pill, I guess at my recommendation.
Yeah,
and gave a little review.
Recommendation after he was murdered, I just thought, now I have to see it. But
yeah. That's cool. Yeah, Mark Angelucci was a men's rights attorney, and he was just an attorney for what's right, honestly. And he was also a professor at Pasadena City College, debunking the lies and smears and the false narrative of Black Lives Matter. And so right on to him, he was shot and killed. He was fighting on behalf of a man who was falsely accused of rape back in 2015. The charges were finally dropped in 2017. Imagine 2 years. You're an alleged rapist, right? Look at how the media talks. Alleged rapist, right? And then false accusations. Crazy.
When did that happen, the rape accusation? When did that happen?
So the accusation was 2015. The charges dropped 2017. But in the meantime, the state government, I guess, of California seized his land. He had a whole big property, and they accused him of different things. He lost a lot of money defending himself. This lawyer guy who got murdered, was defending him pro bono, meaning for free. He wasn't charging him. Dang.
Yeah. Because, before the Me Too moment, as soon as a man was accused of rape, everyone believed it. But I think...
Hey, Nick, can you come in and... Hold on, Samuel. Nick or Joel, can you come in and turn... Does Samuel's voice seem loud to you guys? Press 2 if it's too loud. Press 1 if it's fine. Press 3 if it's too quiet. But turn him down slightly. It's like a little loud to me. But anyways, keep talking, Samuel. I interrupted you because your voice seemed loud to me. Go for it.
Yeah, okay. Well, because what I want to say was after the Me Too moment, I think men especially stopped believing all these rape allegations.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the good thing that came from this Me Too moment.
Yes.
That's the only positive thing, I think.
Yep. Earl did wish me a happy birthday too, by the way, guys. That was cool. Yeah, Samuel, I do agree. And this Black Lives Matter thing, by the way, was also an eye-opening thing for a lot of whites. In fact, it's in some cases it's a positive thing because evil unmasked is always a good thing. You know what you're dealing with and what not to deal with and stuff like that. But also some people, because they have evil in them too, they, for example, Christopher Cantwell, he was this guy who was he's a well-known alt-right figure, right? And he's been attacked by the government, but mainly because he's white, right? But he was a little rough and radical. He used to be a libertarian. And then this Trayvon Martin thing and these radical blacks came out and the media on their side. All of that stuff, that's what radicalizes the whites, not this exposure to these so-called white supremacists. The radicalization happens when they see the lies and smears upon white people, when it's the blacks such as Trayvon Martin, who were the thugs out of control, got themselves killed, and then the whites blamed for it. Or that case, white Hispanic George Zimmerman. So in some cases, men are being alienated by the by the women, and they're going to MGTOW, men going their own way, which I think is too far, which I'm pretty sure is too far. That's the last thing whites need to be doing. Although we do need to protect ourselves from, vicious women, but you can't just write off all of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's the good thing with America is that you have free speech. You can't go to jail because you express negative viewpoint. But I mean, in Sweden, it's so you can't say anything negative about people's race, color, culture, or sexual orientation, transsexual orientation, whatever.
Right.
And like just yesterday, a alternative journalist interviewed. I saw an article anyway about a journalist interviewing a Swedish couple in a ghetto, and that they told how unsafe they felt and that they have to move. And that's in Sweden, because all these immigrants, people of color, and the statistics show that they are more criminal.
Right.
But anyway, and when the reporters left the home of the Swedish couple, they were attacked by an angry Arab man. I mean,
that's wild.
It's insane. And if someone wants to speak about it, it could easily be considered hate crime and all kinds of things around it. So it's very, very insane society right now.
It is. That's true.
Another insane thing, if I have a minute, I don't going to take 10 minutes, but 1 minute.
Yeah.
That's, in Sweden we still have pretty much freedom when it comes to the COVID China virus stuff. But I speak with people and I mean people generally in Sweden, they want to have hard restrictions. I mean, they want to be locked in their houses and all that stuff. I mean, I tell them, but don't you like our government giving us this freedom when all the other countries close down? And they're like, no, I don't like the government or evil.
That's wild.
I mean, it's insane.
They want to be told what to do. They don't want to be self-led. Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's wild, Samuel. You're right. It is a crazy world, and it is getting more and more insane in America. But thank God there's men like Trump who are like, I don't like people calling themselves white trash. And it's such a nasty word. So thank God for like some people with sanity, even in the government. Every now and then one will slip in, right? That's cool. Anyways, Samuel, it's nice to hear from you. Take care.
Have a great day. Have a great birthday.
All right. I will. Thanks.
Bye.
Let me quickly get to, before we finish up this hour, let me get to Felix. Voila. In Miami, Florida. I think I've talked with Felix a couple of times in the past. What's up, Felix? How are you doing?
Happy birthday, Hake, man.
Hey, thank you.
Wonderful birthday, man. 39, man. It's a great year to be alive.
That's true.
Yeah, man. May showers of blessings fall upon your head, my bro.
That's cool. I appreciate that. I receive it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You deserve it, man. Bro, I just wanted to call and say life is good, man. Just chill, lay back, relax, and do what's right.
Yeah.
And you'll deal with things right when they present themselves. Something might just happen in your life that you didn't expect. Otherwise, maybe in your previous life you would have acted, you would have gotten upset or you would have made a fuss about. But you just let it slide off your shoulders, and you don't let it upset you, and something pops up immediately. It's been a great week.
That's cool, man. So happy White History Month, by the way, Felix.
Yeah, I'm doing White History on my IG. I put up like
right
White
on
History Month in the beginning. Bro, the first day was crazy, bro. Like some like good friends from a long time talking about, I'm gonna unfriend you and telling me crazy stuff. I had some girls that like used to be flirty with me, like telling me crazy messages like, these people enslaved my people, and they're white people. And I'm like, wow, bro, the world is messed up. But no, as the days went by and they saw that it wasn't like it wasn't anything like spiteful or anything that had to do with hate or anything. Well, people started, you know, a lot more people started to get on the white history train.
Wow, that's cool. That's a nice report.
And the funny part of all of it is that, like, I analyzed this whole thing. Well, a lot of people that I received likes from and checked it out. Well, a lot of black people wrote, surprisingly.
Yep.
A lot of Caribbeans, a lot of Jamaicans and stuff like that. They have nothing bad to say, and I noticed that my likes went down. Like, I barely got any likes, but my views went through the roof. And the little forward button that means that, you know, like, send it to a friend so they can see it. That one just like passed everything. So like people were like scared to comment, scared to like it, but they were, you know, I was getting way more traffic than ever.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Congratulations.
Man, it actually helped me out with my music and all that stuff. So yeah, man. Thank God, bro. I love white history, man, bro. So
that is really
happy
cool.
Happy birthday, Hake, man. This year's gonna be crazy for you, bro. Get ready for what's about to come, man.
That's true. Appreciate that, Felix. Bro. It's good to hear from you. And great report.
All right, man.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blessings.
Take care. That is nice. See, even just acknowledging white history is good for business. Spreading love. And shout out to Jesse Lee Peterson for hosting the Hake Report. Is that what's referenced when you guys say fat host over on D-Live? Or you're calling me fat? Or both? Anyways, you know what? I think I'm going to quickly take a break, and I'll be back in just a few minutes to your calls, Brian and Madi and the rest of you guys. And I do want to get to just a little update about this COVID madness. Maybe the Twitter hack. Chuck Woolery, he deleted his Twitter account. And he was a popular and good conservative Twitter user guy. But his son caught the COVID, and he had just called it overhyped, which is true. But he deleted his Twitter account. I don't exactly know why, but I'm going to touch on that and other madness. These females. I'm going to touch a little bit about what I talked about in Hake News about the Seattle City Council being ridiculous and all that, wanting to fire all the white officers and things like that. Well, one female city councilman wanted to do that. Anyways, I'll be back in a few. Hang tight, guys. I'll be right back. Enjoy this music from Joel Friday here. Right? You're 2 minutes early, but oh, I know. It's a little early, but whatever. You know, guys, I was taking a quick peek at Fox News, and they have this ridiculous socialist New York City governor, Bill de Blasio, saying, we will not accept an increase in violent gun violence, right? They use the term gun violence in our city, even though it's already happened. You don't have to accept it. It's so pathetic. And they don't solve crime. They increase crimes. That's what socialists do, especially that kind, the kind that hates whites and cops and rule of law and President Trump and everything decent about America. Jaden McNeil gave a diamond, what the? To quote the great Jaden McNeil. Thank you, man. And he says, happy birthday. That's cool. And Dark Side of the Bear What says, nobody is calling you fat, XD. And XD means scrunching your eye, closing your eyes real tight and smiling all big. Whoa.
Yeah.
Is everything good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That was cool. That was a cool effect. It's for the hosts when they call them fat hosts. Well, thank you. John WX15 says, happy birthday, Hake. Give him hell. I try. You know, I like Earl. I like yelling at Earl. And I think that, I wonder if he realizes Earl from Michigan, the ingrate, who doesn't want to who got tired of celebrating the Independence Day because it wasn't for the blacks of that time, I guess. Even though it was a benefit to them. Both at the time and even more so now, I think. Well, I mean, just imagine. Of course, those white American males didn't want to extend it to blacks. Look at if any of them had any mindset akin to W.E. Du Bois or people like Earl who are ungrateful and don't. Well, I mean, at least he appreciates the freedom of white Americans, freedom of speech. At least he says it. Other people don't. Look at all the enemies of America. They were smarter not to want to just willy-nilly let anybody in. I'm glad that people like Justice Clarence Thomas snapped out of his far-left radicalism into being the only solid justice on the court. Samuel Alito, I guess, is okay too. I'm glad that Booker T. Washington was a solid man, seemingly, and Jesse Lee Peterson. But look at that. Now we've become like too nice to the blacks, and they're even worse against whites for it. Because that's what happens when you're nice, too nice. Again, nice as opposed to right? Gorgonzola gave Diamond, happy birthday, G, this Hake's house. Thank you. And Based AF, another ninjet. Thanks, man. Wow. What birthday gift do you give a friend who already has a ninjet? Another ninjet. That's cool. Thanks, man. So, before I get back to calls, oh, man. I'm going to get back to calls quickly. But first, let me just explain one thing. At the beginning of the show, I played for you a clip from The Apprentice, which was a TV show on which Trump starred and basically showed the ropes of how to do business and be a business leader and a man, right? That's cool. Well, this Apprentice contestant couldn't take the heat, so he just got all smart A-word, as he called himself, and called himself white trash, and Donald Trump. I got this from Huffington Post, by the way. I searched it. And Huffington Post hates Trump. They hate men, good, and everything, right? Whites, America. They call themselves HuffPost now because that's all they do is huff and puff. But Trump told this Apprentice contestant, I don't want to hire white trash. And that was that man's name. I hate to name him, but his name is Derek Arteta. He's the man who was fired. And he said at that time that Trump's move was hypocritical. Isn't that interesting? So Huffington Post put this out in 2016, even though this came out years before that, right? Right before Trump was elected, a couple of months. It was a throwback clip, and they tried to say that it's hypocritical, Huffington Post. because he calls people names himself, and he's, in their minds, he's classless, right? Huffington Post, I will remind you, if you weren't aware, I'll tell you that Huffington Post is a far left outlet that's really become a joke of, it's always honestly been a joke of an outlet, but they sometimes had some conservatives say decent things on there, allowed conservatives to write on their website, not Jesse Lee Peterson. They put Donald Trump, during this campaign of 2016, into the entertainment section, because they're like, he is not a serious politician. He's not a serious political candidate. We're not putting him in the politics section. We're putting him only in the entertainment section, because they didn't want to take him seriously. Joke's on them. Now they're just an entertainment section. You go in there to make fun of the liberals who write ridiculous stuff on their website. You know who used to be on there a lot? He used to be like a major guy on there, was Mark Lamont Hill, black radical, who's regularly, or was regularly, on Don Lemon's disgusting anti-white show on CNN. And pro-radical homosexual. It's crazy. Let me quickly tell you about this Seattle woman and show you a picture of her. Seattle City Council woman. I told you about Jonathan Turley writes, and I got this from him. According to him, this Seattle City Councilman, female, I call them men regardless, right, is saying, her name is Lisa Herbold, and wants to fire the white officers of Seattle. And that might mean the most senior officers in many cases. She looks radical, says Joelle. A redhead. I wonder if she's really a redhead. Yeah, she does look radical. I cannot imagine that this is a Christian woman. But there are a lot of radicalized liberal Christian females too. But I don't think that this is a Christian that we're dealing with. Lisa Herbold, city council member, fire the officers based on their race. Because they want to cut 50% of the budget. You hear all this buzz about defund the police, and to cut the city council police, to cut the Seattle Police Department. I don't know if she's normal white. She might be, or she might not be. That's what I was hinting at when I said I don't think she's a Christian. But whatever. The point is, she's evil and led by evil. Right? They want to cut the budget of the Seattle Police Department by 50%, which means firing cops. And so, I will point out to you, and they have a female police chief, Carmen Best, by the way, who says that that's reckless to fire white cops and just cut the budget by 50%. I've told you before, Dr. John R. Lott Jr., PhD, of Crime Prevention Research Center, who's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show multiple times and many other outlets. He writes things. He debunked the Ferguson report. There was a report by the DOJ under the Obama administration's Eric Holder, who claimed that there was racism in the police department, and John R. Lott Jr., he completely debunked that in an article in the New York Post that he wrote. He writes in various outlets, including his own website, crimeresearch.org. Crime Prevention Research Center is his organization. He pointed out data that I've told you guys, appeared in the Federalist, that more officers on the scene means more safety for the criminal who is resisting arrest, who is risking his life by resisting arrest. The criminals tend to get themselves killed when they do that, especially when there's very few officers around. When there's only one or two officers around, more likely to get themselves killed. For example, the officer may feel more vulnerable, his life is at risk if there's no officers around to help contain this guy. Or maybe in the case of Walter Scott, say, who was shot in the back after running and fighting and running against the officer, away from the officer, Michael Slager, over in South or North Carolina. He got himself shot in the back by his actions. And you can blame the officer. He got blamed. He got convicted of, I think, murder, maybe even life in prison or some type of crazy prison sentence, right? Because he was shot him in the back. And he shot 8 times. But shooting 8 times is not quite remarkable because you shoot to stop the threat. But he was running away, so it was like, he's not really a threat. And the Supreme Court ruled in the 70s that you can't shoot in the back anymore, fleeing criminal suspects, unless they're a threat to you or the community. But anyways, maybe if other officers were on the scene, he wouldn't have shot him in the back. He might have behaved himself a little bit better, right? Just another side note. And also, these criminals, they're just more likely to be contained and behave, by the way. More officers around, less likely to get killed. But that's too logical for Black Lives Matter and the sleazy Democrats and rhinos who give any credence to this defund the police nonsense. More cops, fewer deaths. It's a fact, Jack. Kind of like More Guns, Less Crime, which is another book by John Lott. Also not mentioned, this thing about firing the white officers. I alluded to the fact that many of the white officers have more seniority, right? Because they're, whites in general are older. And Seattle has become more and more and more probably, quote unquote, brown, Hispanic, whatever. Well, they've been in the force longer. They're probably more senior and more competent and more cool-headed. And also, a study by Heather McDonald, I've referenced this in the past, back during the crazy Black Lives Matter wave during the Obama administration. She referenced this study, as I recall, from, I think, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, showing that white officers in that area, according to this study, were less likely than black or Hispanic officers to errantly shoot an unarmed criminal suspect of color. Interesting, huh? The whites were less trigger happy. That's not what you hear in the media. That's not what you hear from the Black Lives Matter suckers. And I suspect that that's either more guilt and fear of reprisal on the behalf of the white officers, knowing that they're white and they'll get more scrutiny if they shoot somebody, and they'll get more suspicion and more false accusations. They'll even get charged when they did right. Or maybe also it's just more competence and cool-headedness on the part of the white cops as opposed to the black and Hispanics who have no white guilt, and in some cases they're maybe more hot-headed. They come from rougher families oftentimes. Statistically, the whites and blacks, the Hispanics and the blacks come from more single-parent homes, the mothers, single-mother homes. So maybe they're a little more hot-headed, a little less white guilt in them, and so they don't mind shooting a wild, crazy, unarmed black suspect. Errantly even. So maybe it's a bit of both the guilt and the competence thing. But it's according to what her study said. I mean, not her study, but she referenced a study. Look it up. I think it might appear in her book, War on Cops. She was interviewed by Jesse Lee Peterson back during the Obama years when Obama was giving all kinds of credence unjustly to Black Lives Matter, to the detriment of black Americans and all Americans, right? The crime spiked, the murders spiked. It was called the Ferguson effect, and rightly so. Well, similar today, 2016, the ACLU got rid of, I heard, they got rid of stop and frisk, or reduced the amount of stop and frisk in Chicago. Murder spiked. It's called the ACLU effect. The ACLU is a communist organization. They pretend to fight on behalf of blacks and so-called marginalized people, but it's to the detriment of all people. Disgusting. JCC 1022 says, happy birthday, Hake. And Just Sayin gave a Ninja Guinea says, happy birthday James telling the truth with boldness, Hake. Ah, that's nice. Thank you. Okay. I gotta get to Madi in California. She's been on hold forever. Madi, thank you for holding. I hope you're there.
I'm here, James.
Appreciate you hanging on. Thank you.
No problem. I have to hurry up because I have to go to an appointment, but I called to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Yeah, I was going to give you a super chat, but you don't get it anymore. That's a bummer.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You can do it on Streamlabs, or if you want to just, some people are too lazy to go on Streamlabs. I definitely understand it. We live by convenience, right? You can just go out to Patreon or Subscribestar. I forgot I have a Subscribestar. And support me there on just like a monthly basis. Then you don't have to think about it. But then, like, to get a message to me, you have to either call or you have to hope that I happen to see your chat in the regular chat.
Yeah, I send you one in chat, too.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Just called to wish you happy birthday and have a blessed weekend, sir.
Thank you, Madi. You as well.
You're welcome.
See you in the church chat and maybe in the Fallen State if you're happen to be free and able to watch the Fallen State premiere today. It's going to be a good one.
Being in a little late, but yeah, I will probably be there, and I will see you Sunday as well.
Cool. Well, have a nice weekend. Appreciate that, Madi.
Well, sir.
Good to hear from you. All right. Let me get to Brian in Los Angeles, California. Brian, thank you for holding, man. What's up?
Well, I want to wish you a happy birthday on this great White History Month.
Thank you.
We're having. And, I wanted to make a suggestion.
Can you turn them up?
Like, have Mays and Earl ever met?
I don't know.
But have they ever talked together? Because they can have their own show, and they can talk oppression and Farrakhan all night long. And I wanted to mention that Earl talked about Dylan Roof.
Yeah.
And, Colin Ferguson did the same thing. And a lot of people complain that he didn't get Burger King like Dylan Roof. And I think that Mays and Earl.
Colin Ferguson, and was he a black criminal who did something like that?
He was a black man. Actually, he was born in the West Indies. So he had very little to do with white people, but he still believed in black oppression. And when he got to America, when we allowed him to immigrate to America, he repaid America with trying to kill as many white people on the Long Island Railroad as he could. But they all say he didn't get his Burger King like Dylan Roof.
Right.
And I think that Mays and Earl should buy Colin Ferguson a Whopper for justice and go out and have it with him, because they can do they can give the same love that they believe that Dylan Roof had by the police.
Was Colin Ferguson killed?
No, Colin Ferguson is alive. He was put in jail.
He was put in jail, but they didn't stop at Burger King for him. Okay.
They didn't stop at Burger King, and we all know that is a major injustice.
Who wants Burger King anyways?
Well,
it's like the most unappetizing fast food joint that I can think of.
Yeah, but evidently they think it's a major injustice. So, I would even help, just do a GoFundMe that they could get, I think he's at Rikers Island, and they could go there and just get Colin Ferguson a Whopper.
Very interesting suggestion, Brian. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And have a good birthday and happy White History Month.
Thank you. Happy White History Month to you as well. That's cool.
Yes.
All right. That's nice. Earl, I just wonder if he realizes that he reaps the benefits of both the 4th of July of 1776, all that hard work. It's not just nice words. It's not, I think we're not living it today. The Democrats whom he supports don't support those great, noble words of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Today, they do not support that. They're for the worst thing. He doesn't realize that they're black's worst enemies, because that's what happens when you identify with blackness. So instead of what's right, you're blind. You don't realize that you're supporting your enemies. It's pathetic. but it's like so obvious. It's so obvious that he's reaping the rewards. He gets to listen to the Jesse Lee Peterson show and the Hake Report every day that he wants to, I think. And he gets to call in and argue and yell with us. And it's so fun. And he seems to be healthy and strong at whatever age, and he was never a slave. And anyway, I just wonder if he realizes what he has. Oh, well. No gratitude, right? Oh, I'm going to get to more of the callers. You know what? Let me just cover this. This woman, I got this from Drudge. They're propping up the black woman. The star is rising. This is from Drudge. Harris Faulkner, who is the black woman who's on TV. Very likable person. Very even keel type of a person, generally, as far as I can tell, right? At least that's how she presents herself. She gets a bigger spotlight on Fox News. She's black. Black female. Variety reports on Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern time, I presume. She will host a special primetime event that for the first time in her career at Fox News leads with her name. Harris Faulkner Presents The Fight for America. It's supposedly to look at the civil unrest and race relations in the United States, right? And marks the latest in a series of special format programs she has anchored this year. Sean Hannity will take part in the proceedings. That's nice. More are on the way, notes Faulkner, who expects to continue to lead town hall discussions as well as news specials with her name in the title. Here's a quote about this. We are going to take some very important voices to the conversation. We are going to talk real and raw. As real and raw as Jesse Lee Peterson and James Anton Hake? I don't know. But that's what she says of Sunday's broadcast during a recent interview conducted in her home over Zoom, right? Social distancing. She's one of the few black women, and they capitalize black, meaning Variety is radical. Anchoring weekday slots on the mainstream Fox News. She's in a biracial marriage. She married a white dude, I think. She and her husband have tough discussions about such topics every day. We are raw with each other, she says. And I think that's what we all need to be as Americans. We can take it. Yeah. So hopefully whites will start speaking up frankly. Like that man from that viral video from like a year ago when there was a fire over in Buffalo, and he said, well, if they stayed over on their side, then maybe these things wouldn't happen. They messed up the east side. Why do we want them coming here and messing up our side? They bring the property values down. That's real and raw. I hope that type of language becomes more, that type of honesty becomes more and more the norm again in America. That would be beautiful. So right on, I guess. I don't necessarily have high hopes. Mike Gibson, you can't say that. Inappropriate. Anyways, dude, man, I have so much that I want to get to. Let me go ahead, though, and get to Louie out of Idaho. Louie, it's good to hear from you. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you. Happy White History Month, by the way.
Yeah, happy White History Month, yeah. Good job.
You. Appreciate that.
Tom White is a joker. What was it going to call about? It was about Elmhurst, New York. I was born in Elmhurst Hospital.
Elmhurst, New York. Okay.
Elmhurst, New York Hospital. And this nurse, an Army nurse, was, she's saying how things had changed, and they're putting people, cross-contaminating, killing people intentionally for the money.
Wow, really? That is evil.
Look it up.
They get money by people dying?
You know...
Or people come in, they get money by having heads in their hospital, kind of like schools.
They get. I think they get $31,000. I've heard this on the radio.
That is so corrupt.
For a COVID, but they get $13,000 for anything else. You get a splinter.
That is so counterproductive. Wow, I'm not surprised at this story. Go on.
They'll call it COVID. You get a splinter and you die, and they'll call it COVID. You know.
Right. Yeah, that is so corrupt and evil, and I'm not surprised. It reminds me of how these teachers' unions and disgusting people, they don't want school choice, for example. School choice, where we all pay taxes, right? And some of those taxes, or some of us pay taxes, right? Some of those taxes go to public school, right? But the public schools are doing a disservice. They're run by leftist teachers, and they're mismanaged, and the kids aren't learning. And we have all these immigrants, English as a second language people. They're getting preferential treatment over the normal kids, meaning normal English speaking kids. And it's a mess. People are getting.
That is racist, man. Normal. Come on, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
I know. And then, but school choice would help solve the problem. Then you can take your school voucher and take it to any school, and if they have room, they accept you. And then there's more competition, but the schools, the administrators,
everything is based on finances. Jake,
yeah,
we know this.
As the more students you have, the more money you get from the state. And it doesn't matter how you perform. It's so evil. It's so corrupt. That's socialism for you.
Education is a joke in general. You know what?
Totally.
How many people they put through the system that can't read?
Yeah, and not only can't read, they can't even vote right. They can't even discern that the Democrats are lying to them, and that the Republicans, most of them, are lying too. And that the media is lying to them. It's so
Everything's
messed
a lie.
up.
The earth is flat. You know what? Maybe it is. Who knew?
What's that? Say that again?
Maybe the earth is flat. Who knew?
Yeah. It's no wonder that with all the lies, brazen lies that are being spread, it's no wonder that people are distrusting and questioning everything. Because they're such filthy, sleazy liars about obvious things, too. This whole race thing, it's really obvious if you pause. You know, everybody knows that the violent crime in these so-called poor or black communities is out of control. And then they want to scrutinize the cops and no scrutiny on the blacks and no solutions for what is wrong with the blacks.
I can't believe what they're doing to the police. I can't believe it.
Yeah. It's insane.
And who are you going to call? Who are you going to call? Someone breaks in your house, who are you going to call?
Yeah, you can't use your gun, otherwise you'll get attacked for that. So you're killed if you do. You're not necessarily killed if you do. You're arrested if you do, and you're killed if you don't. Yeah. I'm referring to self-defense. Anyways, Louis, appreciate that. I had not thought about that. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Talk again. Bye.
All right. Before I get more to this this COVID madness, I want to talk quickly to Michael, first-time caller out of Monterey. I couldn't roll my tongue. Monterey, California. Michael, thanks for holding. What's up?
Hey, happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. So let's start off with a simple question. Do you think white privilege exists in America?
I think it kind of does, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. Whites enjoy the privilege of having been raised more frequently by decent parents. Their parents and their grandparents were generally halfway decent people, so they developed a positive reputation for themselves, and therefore people are just generally more trusting and comfortable around the whites, and they'll go into their communities. And privilege we've been passed down a good reputation, and in that sense, yes, it is a privilege.
I totally agree. I think a way that they kind of are sneaky about it, the left, is they'll say it's unearned privilege, and it's not so much that you didn't earn it, like a child or a young man or woman, but it's that you earn it as like an inheritance right, with your parents. So I think like white inheritance is kind of a more apt term, but that's, I don't know, I think privilege is kind of more of a way of attacking white Americans.
Yeah.
And do you think, I was talking to a friend who was on the left about all this Black Lives Matter stuff, and I said, you know, if the black community doesn't want to have all these, you know, instances of so-called police brutality, maybe they should, you know, police their own members, and they will, you know, earn their own privilege to be trusted and you know, have that kind of black privilege. And so do you think that could ever happen in America, to where blacks create, you know, a new generation of blacks create their black privilege?
I think that could happen. I think it could. I don't know if it will, but anything is possible. You see a small minority of a tiny minority of blacks waking up to and like agreeing with Jesse Lee Peterson and forgiving, becoming responsible, taking care of their lives and stopping the sex out of wedlock, and that's setting a powerful example. I didn't even imagine that any millennials would be doing that, much less did it cross my mind that blacks would be doing that. So I think that's a miracle could happen, you know?
Yeah. When I hear, you know, some of the black callers that come in, call into you and Jesse, it is, you know, inspiring in a way. You know, it gives me hope that, you know, if we are going to go forward in this multiracial country, that there is a way that it's not going to be the, you know, the hellscape that the far right kind of, you know, or the far right like tries to paint it. You know, there is a hope. You know,
there is always hope. You're right. They're realists when they acknowledge the present times. When they try to predict the future, it's a mistake to live in that future. I agree with you there.
Yeah. You know, that's good advice. You know, I think I definitely, you know, veered kind of further right at times, but it is, you know, it's like kind of like what Jesse says. You know, think about the present. You know, no one knows the future. All that stuff. It's really, you know, it's playing God to say, oh, well, we know that America's gonna, you know, this and that. So.
Plus, you know, like Jesse Lee Peterson, he's never gets what they call black pilled, and he's not exactly white pilled. He's just truth. He's just putting out the truth and having faith, because the future is not really up to us. Because it's not up to us who wakes up and who doesn't. It's up to us to tell the truth and live the truth and be about the truth in our own lives too. Yeah. So, and he's always had, like, people would call him and say, you can't, there's this crazy caller. I reference this call all the time. Mel from Atlanta, this crazy caller from back in the day. He would say, you can't change this stuff, man. The homosexuals and all that stuff, you can't change it. It's not going to change, man. Because Jesse's so old school and he's about what's right. And Jesse's like, why not? And so he never doubted. He had faith. And now, look, people turning around, even lesbians and homosexuals and transgenders are turning around. A few.
Yeah.
And that's all it really takes.
You know,
so
I think it can only get so crazy, and then I think, you know, people's lives start to stink so much that they're gonna go a little more in the right direction or something like that. I don't think you can continually degenerate forever.
Some people can, I think.
Some people can, yeah.
But yeah, things are always changing. Yeah, one generation is, you read it in the Bible all the time. The one king is great, his son is evil, the next king is good, the next 3 kings are evil, the next 15 kings are all evil. And every now and then there's a good one.
Yeah, I think kind of an example of this is like you see kind of like this Zoomer backlash of, you know, being more conservative and kind of sticking it to the millennials and saying, like, we're not gonna be degenerate like you stupid millennials,
right?
You know, have tattoos and purple hair and all this stuff. So I think that kind of shows, like, you know, it's hard to just continue down a wrong path.
Yeah, you know, it's like one thing. There's Miss Chris, I think, told me that even if you grow up, or she kind of gave me this idea, even if you grow up raised by lesbians or whatever, raised by transgenders or whatever, God is still in you to give you the truth and you can still get the truth, even if you had the most horrible upbringing. You can still come out okay. So, yeah, it's never hopeless. Appreciate it, Michael. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great talking to you. Bye.
You as well. Take care. Okay, hang tight, favorite caller, and to Sarah, hang tight, and the rest of you guys. You know, it's so funny. Mary Trump, the supposed niece of President Trump, selling a bunch of books, making a fool of herself, and making a fool of everybody who's giving any credence to her, including that radical MSNBC top host, whatever her name is, on, Rachel Maddow, just making them look foolish. Everything that they do to try to hurt Trump ends up looking great, especially in comparison to them. So I love that. But, it's so evil. I just quickly want to tell you about Cuomo as an example of these oppressive people. Cuomo, I touched on this in Hake News, the end of hour 1. Drudge and the far-left Reuters reports that bars and restaurants in New York City that receive 3 quote-unquote strikes. And, it's so ridiculous because it reminds us of the 3 strikes laws with actual violent crime that actual does, or not even necessarily violent crime. Like, it could be 3 drug offenses, right? But that's kind of violent crime, too, because drugs kill. And the drug trade is really violent. But he's not going after real crime. He's going after businesses that so-called fail to enforce social distancing will be forced to close. What an evil man. That's the governor, Andrew Cuomo, the Democrat, brother of Chris Cuomo of CNN. What's his name again? Frito. This is what he said on Thursday. Bars and restaurants across the state will also be allowed to serve alcohol only to patrons also ordering food, and walk-up bar service will not be allowed. He said there is an Andrew Cuomo, too. Is that the father? Oh, no, Mario Cuomo was the father. Andrew Cuomo. Whatever. Governor Cuomo. Yeah. Andrew Cuomo is the governor. He said there is a significant evidence of failure to comply during a conference call with reporters, who are also sleazy people generally themselves. He says it's wrong, it's dangerous, it's selfish, it's unacceptable, it's also illegal. He's all high and mighty about morality and selfishness and stuff being illegal, being a Democrat, which is rich. Wasn't he like, if you're pro-life, you're not welcome in New York? He said something along those lines once. Really evil guy. Didn't he put a bunch of COVID patients into nursing homes, right? Wasn't he overseeing this? Or, his people, his administration or whatever, his task force, who knows what, into nursing homes, which put old folks and sick people at more risk, causing more deaths from COVID. At least that's what's alleged. That's what they speculate, that many of these COVID deaths are in nursing homes. It's like 40% of them. Why wouldn't they keep the COVID patients out of nursing homes? That way the nursing home people can be the clean places, and they find somewhere else for the COVID patients. What a mess. There's an announcement coming whether New York City would enter phase 4 of reopening, coming at 4 Eastern. That's 1 Pacific. Not that we care over here, but COVID is nothing to sneeze at, but it is hyped. People are lying and mistaken about it. And I'm not a bit scared about it. So if you guys think I'm fear-mongering when I'm reading these headlines, that's not my intention at all. And I have not been scared of it. I don't want to get sick from it. I don't like being sick. I don't like missing work. I don't want to get anybody else sick. That's messed up. I don't really go out, though, other than taking a walk. I'm not a cosmopolitan or a jet setter, but I do want healthier, cleaner habits, especially being 39, right? But Chuck Woolery, he left Twitter, according to CNN. His son got infected after he said that everyone is lying, including the CDC, and President Trump retweeted that tweet. He has like this great Twitter account, or he had it. Chuck Woolery was the host of Wheel of Fortune. I think I have this headline just to show you a picture of him. conservative guy. I think he was host of Love Connection. I hated that show. I wouldn't watch more than the beginning of it. But that was back in the 80s, I guess, or early 90s. But his son got infected. I heard that he's symptom-free. Former game show host deactivates his Twitter account after his son contracts COVID-19. I mean, maybe he was reading nasty tweets or getting threats or something. I don't know. But hopefully he'll come back to Twitter. I hope so. Because he had a great Twitter account. Trump retweeted him recently, and he was confronted for retweeting a tweet that said the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which is in the Health and Human Services Department of his administration. But, you know, his administration is overrun with people who hate him and a bunch of liberal so-called scientists, right? But he had retweeted him, and he was confronted, I think, by Catherine Herridge, who used to be in Fox News, and now she's in CBS. And she's like, why did you retweet that? And he said, well, it's a view that a lot of people have. And I wanted to put that out there because a lot of people are thinking this way. And you know what? I don't think that Chuck Woolery was necessarily wrong. Because it's a dangerous disease for some who are vulnerable. Yes. Even like a 41-year-old Broadway actor who didn't look overweight. He did drink a little bit. But he wasn't homosexual. I don't think. He was married to a woman. And he had a baby. But he caught the COVID and he died. I told you a little bit about him a week or two ago. He died. 41 years old, young guy. Well, relatively, right? Wasn't particularly fat. There was a 37-year-old Trump supporter who was fatter, who was an Army veteran. And he was saying, I'm not going to buy a mask. And he died, and the media were dunking on him being evil. But it's a serious thing. But it's also, there's all kinds of hype, and you guys know this. Come on. So, and the death rates, yes, the death rates are increasing because that's what happens with a crazy disease that's new and highly contagious, as they claim, and more dangerous than the flu, which I do believe, given to us by China and spreads quickly thanks to globalist liberals who pretend like they now have the solutions for us, right? They suddenly believe in science when common sense says when you have this unchecked globalism, you're exposing the whole world to all the whole world's vast array of sicknesses, right? And sicknesses are supposed to spread exponentially. This is really not news, in my mind, about all this hype about the increase of it. I think the hype is anti-Trump hype because they are touting the fact that Trump's numbers are supposedly down, his disapproval rate for his handling of COVID is like 62% disapprove of it or don't trust him or something, right? But, you know, there's always the remnant who can see through the crap, right? Right on. King Alpha Nerd says, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. I don't know what that's a reference to, but thanks, man. Always faithful. Christe, spelled Kriste, on D-Live, gave a diamond and said, happy birthday, Hake. Thank you. And thank you to Dark Side of the Bear What, giving a 1-month subscription to F in the chat. And so someone get Bill giving a subscription to Arizona Lineman. That's cool. And thank you guys. Someone get Bill giving it to Kenny Brown. Kenny He Brown. Nice. Appreciate you guys supporting me on D-Live, especially since YouTube demonetized me. I may give the old college try to get remonetized on YouTube. I'm not that edgy. I'm not that into, you know, the white thing. But, you know, there's a lot of nice, reasonable people, less edgy and more disciplined than me who've been kicked off. So we'll see what happens. All right. I got to get to my favorite caller, though. Maze in Dayton, Ohio. I will be opening the treasure chest on D-Live, which is the redistribution of lemons for you guys, which means that you can give other lemons to, or just accumulate them or whatever. In about 6 minutes, I'm going to open the treasure chest on D Live, guys. All right? Let me get to my favorite caller, Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. Thank you for holding, Maze. What's up?
Happy birthday, James.
Thank you.
I do birthdays, but I don't do all of those pagan holidays.
Okay.
And the guy that wanted me and Earl to get us our own show, don't we have the freedom to speak?
Yes, you do.
We do. At one point in time, maybe one of us did. No, we do by law.
You have the
So
right
if
to
you
remain
want to-
silent, too.
What?
You didn't have the freedom of speech back when you guys were slaves?
Well, I wasn't a slave. My ancestors were.
Right.
That's what I got to say. For your White History Month,
Yeah.
Sally Hemings and Washington's grandson was on TV the other day. George Washington's
Sally
grandson.
Hemings? Oh, that's
Yes.
George Washington's a great-great-granddaughter or something? Is she a
Son.
liberal?
I don't know what he is, but he looks just like his grandfather.
Oh, really?
Oh, it could be some of y'all problem in the chat room. You might need to go do your DNA. You might like that man that hated black people so much, and then he found out, did the DNA, and he found out he had some black in him, and we haven't heard from him since.
I heard something like that.
Yeah, since they got a problem and think the black people this and black people that. He's just going to come in here and tell us what we need to do. We don't need a show, and we want to participate with James and talk to him. And if he let us, we got the opportunity. Not sit and tell us what we should be doing.
I know. I think I give you guys, and some of my callers, give you guys content to discuss. And we like having a conversation. A bunch of
But they
agreeing.
don't like the truth.
A bunch
So
of.
you can't take the truth.
Who's that?
Stop denying the truth and accept it and go on with it. That don't mean you got to hate somebody because they tell you the truth.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Take
so you
that.
like the statues,
Take that,
but you
Maze.
do it- but they like the statues, but they don't like what came along with those statues that they're taking down, do they? They don't want to discuss that part of when those statues were put up and what was going on at that time.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really know.
No history and still love people. At the
Hey,
same
Maze.
time. What?
They claim there's content issues detected. Copyright audio and video in your stream. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. That's YouTube. It's probably because I played the Apprentice NBC content. Hopefully it's not blocked.
Music that you played that didn't belong to you.
Well, the music doesn't belong to me, but it's copyright free. Joelle picks it pretty carefully.
Yeah,
People are still chatting. It's just, they're just, I can't monetize it. I can't monetize it anyway. But Maze, I heard that white supremacists, that's what the liberal media pretends to be so factual and objective. White supremacists put up those statues in the early 1900s and 1930s and stuff. They changed white supremacists changed the Tennessee flag to have the Confederate battle flag on it and stuff like that. I don't know that that's true. Do you know anything about those people did you look into that stuff?
Did I look into it? Do I know about it?
Do you know about it?
When I say when they want to talk about the flag and the statues, they don't want to talk about the things that was happening at the time. Those flags. And
What was
statues were put
happening?
up, or the people what they were doing at that time.
What was happening?
They had slaves at that time, didn't they?
Huh? No, they didn't always. No, this is after
They
the
had
slaves
slaves
ended.
At that time, those statues. Yes, and when slavery ended, they put them up.
Right.
After the fact, that
Yeah.
would not have happened. So it's what I'm saying. Those people that don't want to like to hear history and think people got to be hatred because they want to discuss what happened to their ancestors, there's nothing wrong with it. But they want to carry the flag and all of the the things that they did with that flag and around people with that flag. And they don't want to have a discussion about that part, but they want to love the flag, but not what goes with it. You can't mix the cake without every ingredient that you put in it because it'll fall.
Well, I have no problem with. I don't have no problem with true history. I will never apologize for slavery. I wasn't involved. And I don't know if my ancestors were or weren't. It's cool. It's awesome if they were. It's fine if they weren't. I don't care either way.
And I'm saying people don't have to be upset about it. And then when it comes to
Yeah.
on that, did any of her kids get any money from the people that put her picture on that cert? Did her kids get anything out of it?
Who?
Aunt Jemima cert, her picture on that cert bottle that they pushed around the world.
I don't know, but I heard that her family. I heard that her family. Her real name was like something Green. Her family
Whatever
did
her
not.
name was,
Yeah,
they did not benefit from it. Somebody did.
No, hold on. You don't know that. Their family were not for her being taken away.
I'm not saying her being taken away. I'm saying her face on that cert bottle.
Right. I don't know.
Do you have anything that they inherited from it except the picture?
I don't know.
And that was it?
They didn't want it taken away though. They didn't want it taken down.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I'm not saying take it I'm saying that they get paid for. It's just like the man that
I don't know if they got paid or not. Why should they get? Why should they get
videos.
paid? It's not their face. It's their.
Well, that's what I'm saying, James.
Huh?
You stop get riding hard. Get rid of it. If you're carrying the same thing back in those days that your granddaddy did, get rid of it. And
Why?
Because they tell you your history.
Why? Why get rid of it?
Stop barking like a dog, like the dogs do.
Who, me?
No, not you. Those that's complaining and can't take it. I'm sorry. If it hurt.
Do you agree that the people that are complaining about those statues being up, they should just swallow their pride and accept it?
No, I said they should accept everything that go with it. What happened back in those days? When somebody trying to tell them that was back then, I was not a slave. But some people are still benefiting from slave money today. You don't want to give you. What do you want to do?
I don't know, man. The slave. What slave money? I mean, you earn a little bit of money from the cotton.
People picking cotton. They pick cotton out of it. The people that pick the
That
cotton.
is so minuscule. I mean.
No, it's not minuscule.
Yes, it is. Maze, let me just tell you.
I was saying, let me fit one thing I have to say.
Okay.
The cops, the man about to have a breakdown. They're not getting rid of cops. They're just getting rid of the bad ones. Because what do you think should happen to cops that did those cops that were sitting in their car talking, saying what they should do to black people and all this stuff? Do you think they should be on the police department? Or even on the police force?
Oh, you know, I don't know. Sure, because that's freedom of
You think
speech.
they should be cops at all?
Yeah, they should. I mean, I don't know exactly what story you're referring to. I heard something like they were caught on tape saying something edgy about we should kill a bunch of blacks.
Yes.
But
So do you think
I don't know this. I don't know the story. I can't really comment on it. But the point is, cops.
If you didn't know it, do you think they should be cops?
I don't know. I would have
Should they be
to
on the street with all the criminals that
because I don't know what they said and I don't know why they said it or anything. But I will tell you, Maze. Hold on, Maze. I'll tell you one thing. Cops are closer to reality than the public because they have to deal with these violent
How many do you know personally,
criminals.
James?
I know many personally.
I do too. And they don't give a what's going on or what they see. They said they didn't
That doesn't mean anything.
They did not take the jobs to do that, black and white ones, Asians and all kinds, except the ones that went in there for that purpose.
Anyways, I gotta go, Maze. Appreciate it.
The cops are not going anywhere. The bad ones just going to be leaving.
No, that's not true. All right, you too. Take care. That's not true because Officer Darren Wilson did everything. He did nothing wrong, as far as I could tell, and as far as the everybody could tell. But he still had to go into hiding. Officer Darren Wilson. That's one example. Sarah out of North Carolina. Thank you for holding. What's up?
Yeah, I had to listen through Maze. My ears are like bleeding from hearing her. But
I know.
Everything is going well. I just wanted to call about, I've been noticing there are a lot of accounts on Twitter that are connected to Black Lives Matter, and they also are part of the Satanic Church. Like, they literally are part of the Satanic Church.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And
they're SJWs.
Yes, and we know that, so that's not really surprising.
Right.
And if you look at Black Lives Matter, their whole agenda is anti-Christ. You know,
Yep.
God wants us to be married. They want to destroy the family.
Yep.
God wants us to go forth and multiply. They want to fund Planned Parenthood and support abortion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why any black person or anybody would contribute money to such a satanic group, you know.
Everything evil. Yep.
They seem to be feminist and pro-transgender. It's just really an abomination.
Yep.
But about that call, Mace was saying that some people have bad things in their past, so they need to tear down all the statues down if they had slaves. Well, Martin Luther King, you know, he did a lot for the civil rights movement, but he was like a known womanizer, and he was a pastor. He wasn't perfect. Should we also tear down his statues as well?
I know. I was thinking about Obama, right? Obama was so evil,
disgusting.
and they're naming boulevards after him and stuff like that, which they're going to be like the next MLK Boulevard thing, because MLK Boulevard is
ghetto.
Usually ghetto in any city. But Obama was you know, they talk about how Yale, right? You know, the conservatives are making fun of the liberals, or the more independent-minded people are making fun of the liberals who don't want to change the name Yale University because that was a slave trader. Well, I'm like, Mr. Yale probably is morally superior to most of the leaders of today. Obama was pro-abortion and expanded abortion. and yet he's being honored.
And there were gay guys saying they had affairs with Obama. Like, they pretend like he's perfect, but several men.
I don't like that stuff because I don't like accusations and repeating, shameful stuff like that, because I don't want to give any credence to what if it's not true, then that's really unjust, So I don't like
they never even investigated it.
Yeah, of course they would. That's true. They would not. They would investigate it if it were a conservative, for sure. Yeah. Or if it were a decent man, for sure. They would love to, nothing more than to take down a Christian man who's standing for Christian values, who gets caught up in evil stuff like that. That is a fair point.
The list that Black Historical Museum came up with, it should be offensive to every black person that is walking on the earth.
Yeah, very true.
The only thing funny about it that I found was that for the food, they said bland is best for white people.
That is funny. I appreciate it, Sarah. It's nice to hear from you from North Carolina.
Bye-bye.
Take care. King Alpha Nerd gave a super chat explaining the who you gonna call Ghostbusters. That was for me and Louie, talking about getting rid of the police, and when you need help, who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters. But thinking about it, it might be racist soon because ghosts are white, and BLM might want to make them black next. So he's shrugging.
Amazing.
True. And Ted Stryker says, back at ya. Happy birthday, Hake. Thank you, man. Happy White History Month to all of you of all races. White history is to be loved and celebrated by everybody because, whites in general, at least in the past, they were for real justice, which is a benefit to everybody. Let me quickly get to Blazing Hogs, and then I really got to go. Blazing Hogs, you have 30 seconds. Go out of Dayton, Ohio.
All out Blazing Hogs. It's your night rider from sundown town, Maze. I'm coming over for supper tonight.
Nice. Wow.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And just a quick, I was letting people know in chat that, the chat is open up. The after party's open 24/7.
Nice.
Come join Marcus and Joe Kenyon. They're at it 24/7 in there.
All right. Appreciate that tip, Blazing Hogs.
Hey, have a blessed birthday, brother. Later.
Thank you. All right. Take care. I think he might be referring to the Jesse Lee Peterson's Monday scheduled stream, I'm assuming. But any given YouTube chat, just poke around, you'll find him. Anyways, guys, I got to end. It is over 2 hours, and the show's over. The Fallen State premieres in less than an hour, or in an hour. Go to thefallenstate.tv and make sure you're subscribed and ringing the bell of Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel, Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. And I've been doing the Hake Report every Sunday, 9 a.m. I didn't do it last week because my beta back, right? Joel was already over here. He's like, thanks for telling me. But I've, as of now, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to stick with it. So I'll plan on seeing you Sunday on the Hake Report, 1 hour on Sundays, 2 hours Monday through Friday. Thanks, guys. TheHakeReport.com, JesseLeePeterson.com. And from JesseLeePeterson.com, you can find TheFallenState.tv and RebuildingTheMan.com, which is the church Bond website. All right, guys, take care.
Report.